All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Moonduck coverage of the Northern Arena Beat Invitational presented by Bell. These are the main qualifier playoffs, lower bracket, best of three between Not Today and PaiN Gaming. PaiN Gaming took a pretty convincing game one off the back of a drow strat, but Not Today. This is their last chance to claw their way in and move up in the bracket and hopefully earn a spot at the LAN in Montreal. I'm not alone today. I'm Android, being joined by Capitalist. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. PaiN look really sick in game number one. Honestly, they made so few. I actually think they made no strategical errors. I think everything that they did was on point. There was like some small execution, like the gank on mid. You were just barely off of being able to get extra marks to the spot. It's whatever. You can't anticipate that. Big picture was damn near perfect for PaiN Gaming. But that was a Draw Ranger strat. Draw Ranger strats are something that are practiced and have proven to be kind of a consistent, like it's always there. The Draw Ranger strat. Every single patch, there's a possibility for a Draw Ranger strat. So if any strategy is going to go perfectly, it's probably going to be that one. It's pretty fast paced, and you have a long history with it. We'll see if PaiN they have an opportunity to run a Draw strat again, but if they do something different, is their strategy game going to look as crisp and as clean as it did in game one?
We'll have to see here. Starting things out with the Oracle, really surprised that Drow Ranger wasn't banned out, as it just proved to be such a fantastic component for PaiN Gaming. So they've now got the option to, pick up a Drow. They could pick up a really nice Drow combination hero. I mean, really the only difference is that the Shadow Demon's not going to be available. So that Shadow Demon Kunkka lockdown duo, not going to be around. They can't get the Elder Titan either. So lots of focus on taking out supports that are a really high utility, really high roaming in these first couple of bans. Now, ban on the Meepo, is that just kind of a quirky little pick, or can Not Today really play those Meeps?
Yes, they absolutely can. In fact, I'm surprised we haven't. I mean, I guess I didn't see their match against NP, but I'm surprised we haven't seen the Meeple be picked up by them just yet. I think the opening here for Not Today, the Oracle, when you can't get your hands on Shadow Demon, is pretty good, but I would prefer to have Juggernaut. But then again, I went on at length last series about why I like Juggernaut as an opening pick. PaiN instead get their hands on it, and a +1. Kunkka is still in the pool if you want to be able to pick up that one. It's not bad. You leave yourself open. I think Oracle's a decent counter to it in some ways
Look at
because of
that.
the Fate's Edict is like pretty good, right? Because like someone's gonna get sent back. You know it's gonna happen. So you Fate's Edict them so they don't take damage from the torrent and whatever resulting nukes are thrown at them. And then you just you kind of try and jog back and give them a false promise as well. I think it's sort of like a soft counter to Kunkka, but it still makes Kunkka good.
Yeah, I mean, with the Shadow Demon out of the picture, what do PaiN want to do as their secondary support? Do they go for something lane heavy, like a Crystal Maiden that we've seen before, or do they go for something roaming or healing? What's the play?
I think you might leave your other support for the 3/4 pickup. But I guess you can't really go Omni because then you would be lacking disables. If you do go something like an Omni, you have to go pretty heavily. I like OD actually. I think OD is a great answer to both Juggernaut as well as Kunkka. Because of the fact that it gives you an option against X marks his spot as well as that Omni Slash. The only downside is that OD isn't able to get out as much damage as he likes against Juggernaut when he's spinning, but I think it's a small price to pay. Instead, they go for the Timber Saw, though.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Timber Saws go ultra tanky, hard to kill, just run at you. Is this going to be a mid Timber or an offlane Timber? And if so, like, do we see that Vanguard build we saw last series, or is it the more traditional, you Bloodstone into Yules into Hex?
I think the Vanguard build was very heavy commitment by Team Fox to a win by the first 30 minutes. And I think it has its pros and cons, but I much prefer the traditional builds by Timbersaw. Obviously, I didn't agree with a whole lot of the items that he went for, but I can understand the vision behind it. As far as where this Timbersaw is going, though, I think that is something that you can't really tell just yet, because you don't know what PaiN Gaming are going to do either. The Juggernaut could be mid, he could be safe lane. If it's safe lane, what other mid laner is there? Is it something that Timbersaw can match up against? Like I said earlier, I really think Not Today should ban away the OD, because I still think that would be a great pickup for PaiN. Or sorry, the other way around. I think it should be banned by PaiN because it would be a great pickup by Not Today. That being said, it's not terrible on either side. Pure damage is always welcome against Timbersaw, and anything that burns mana is good too. So now that I think about it, OD would be really nice against Timber too.
We'll see. It's going to be slapped out of the pool here, unfortunately. And now PaiN, they're moving on to their second to last ban. I mean, with the Oracle, with the Timbersaw, that's really not a whole lot revealed about their playstyle. Those are two pretty, go-to heroes. Timbersaw is going to be up front eating a majority of the damage. So at this point, you just kind of got to ban out, pretty reliable cores. They're going to go take out the Huskar. I like that choice. I mean, PaiN, with the Juggernaut pick, seem to be playing this a little bit more collected than last game, not rushing into the Drow strat. So Huskar is certainly something that could capitalize on their early game weakness.
Yeah, I think so too. The next pickup... I'm trying to find my hero pool. PaiN Gaming might think about running like a safe lane, like Animage or something against that Timbersaw. They have already one hero they can abuse mobility against. Oracle is kind of one of the big downsides. No, you don't have a hard disable, right? Which case mobility is really nice to have. Other than that, any other big notable heroes left in the pool? Morphling may end up going the way of Not Today. It seems like there are plenty of teams that don't really care too much about the Juggernaut Diffuser Blade Manta. And again, I don't think that Juggernaut counters the Morphling. I just think that at a point in time, people were thinking that Morphling was a hard counter to Juggernaut, but that's not the case. With a different skill build, a build other than the Battle Fury build that goes Diffusal, that build allows Juggernaut to, I think, almost go toe-to-toe with Morphling. You just obviously have different power spikes.
Yeah, now with the Nyx Assassin picked up here for PaiN Gaming, I'm really liking their ambition. PaiN are going to be kind of on the aggressive. Kunkka's going to be rotating, going to most likely spend a little bit of time mid, going in for the X-Torrents. Nick should be perfectly comfortable doing his own thing. Once he gets Vendetta, he's going to be roaming on the offensive as well. So PaiN are looking to be in charge of this game. Not today. Even with their picks so far, they feel a little bit defensive. Timbersaw, with the reactive armor, he just wants to sit in lane and survive. Oracle, he's there to bail his buddies out. What do PaiN need to pick up to really get the most damage out of their, early game aggressive strat?
Well, they don't really have a game plan so far as yet. Like, Oracle Timbersaw is still really open. And I don't think there are any obvious weaknesses from PaiN Gaming, except for the fact that they have 3 melee. But that's most likely going to be rounded out with 2 ranged heroes next. 1 support to pair with Kunkka, which they need a setup stun. I usually like to have Kunkka having a setup stun. It gives you like more level 1 ganking power and presence in the lane. No, actually, I'm going to change my mind.
Okay.
They're probably not going to go for it, but Coddle. It's not a setup stun for Kunkka, but Coddle is just like, hey,
the mana burn
Timbersaw.
against Timbersaw, just screw you, dude.
Yeah. There is the advantage that Not Today do have a Purge already in their hands with Fortune's End. But Lion, I guess, it's not bad. I think they probably, a Disruptor actually would be pretty good. I think whatever it is, they pick up their other support now and obviously leave the whole question mark still out there for Not Today of, is it going to be a mid Juggernaut? Is it going to be a safe lane?
Snipe that one out of midair. Good job, Cap. It's almost like you get paid to do this.
I better be getting paid, Moonduck. Moonduck. All right, since I'm on the roll here, what's next for Not Today?
Ursa Warrior.
It looks like an Ursa. That is really aggressive and really early game focused. I mean, Not Today. They are on the dire side, so they've got that Roche control, but with the Timbersaw, the Ogre, and the Ursa, they've got these really hard to kill melee bruisers, but they're just lacking on initiation.
Enrage is really nice. It removes the mana leak and allows you to be able to tank up Omni Slash. It's also, Ursa as a hero is able to just focus down Juggernaut. There are very few heroes that can turn on Juggernaut, especially in the early game. When he spins against you, Ursa's one of those heroes, though. Because Juggernaut's he's dancing, he's spinning around like a ballerina, and Ursa's just like, I'm gonna rip you to shreds. You keep dancing around like that, it just tear you apart with just raw physical damage. They're on Dire side as well, so that it gives the pickup that little bit of extra oomph. And then I would say their last pick just really needs to be some lockdown, to be honest. It's one thing that they're missing. They only have the Ogre Magi stun. I think Puck is the best pickup here. So many times, I'm not sure what it is, but it feels like the 5th pick. I've seen it so many times where it's like the 5th ban is Alchemist, in which case the enemy team then picks up the Puck. It's something about the idea that Alchemist for this team would allow them to have really absurd late game, and it gives an Ags pass off to the Ursa. But since you can't have that, or maybe you can, I didn't think about that. I haven't seen a Phantom Lancer for a while. Maybe this is a block pick as well. You never know. Maybe PaiN Gaming were thinking about going for a PL Coddle combo.
I'm just really stumped here as to what the timings are going to be from Not Today. Because with that Ursa pickup, it's like, all right, 10 minutes in, you're fighting, you bring your supports, Davai, Ursa goes in. Timbersaw is going to be more that mid-game focused hero. But Phantom Lancer, he doesn't really occupy a unique niche. I'm not quite sure if he's really the pick here, but I've been proven wrong before.
No, I think you have the right mindset, right? It's like what is the timing for Not Today besides just having late game? What more does this Phantom Lancer give you? Because you have a Timbersaw, you have an Ursa, and you have a Phantom Lancer. Where's your tempo controllers? Where's your if you're gonna go late game, how do you make sure you don't get run over by 20 minutes? And saying we're just gonna snowball with Ursa isn't an answer. You need something that allows Ursa to be able to snowball. What if those first couple of ganks or those first couple of team fights or the Roshan attempt, what if it goes poorly? What is going to stop PaiN Gaming from rolling over you with their lineup, which is like a very clear built-up sort of deal? You've got the Juggernaut who can be pretty active. The Storm Spirit is just going to be building up control constantly. It's not much of a 15-minute fighter, but at 20 minutes it really starts getting going, and it only gets worse from there. Nyx Assassin is very early tempo controller, but still builds mid to late game. There's an importance in the meta right now to be able to have multiple stages of growth. To be able to control the tempo of the game at 15 to 20 minutes, but also still be able to go late game. And when I look at PaiN's lineup, I see that. It looks very pretty in that regard. Not Today's, it's very clunky, and doesn't really fit the meta so much right now because it's so greedy. But then again, you have a player called Greedy on your team, maybe that's just what you need.
Yeah, I'm not too sure here. Again, Not Today, one loss away from elimination out of this tournament. Don't really know if this is the safest strat, but I think they're just grasping at straws to stay in. Ursa, hopefully, can be that snowball. You talked about that not really being a game plan, but it's better than nothing here. Now, PaiN with this last pick, Storm, we haven't really talked a whole lot about, the impact of that high mobility, but he's so vulnerable pre-level 6 that if there's some decent rotations, Not Today might be able to shut down 4DR's timings just a little bit.
That's true, but look at the kind of rotations that it would be. It would be like an ogre rotating. That's not really, that doesn't really put a whole lot of fear in you. Ogre is more of a static laner, and what I mean by that is he's a hero that you plant in the lane and you say, go be your dumb self, ogre. Go hit things in the head. He doesn't move around and craftily gank lanes. He just kind of bullies others because he's big and he's dumb and he's stupid and he doesn't feel pain because he's so stupid. Jesus, so he just kind of sits there.
You've got some pent-up feelings about ogres in your lanes,
Magi
dude.
players are real dumb, okay? Let me just say, if you've ever played offlane, if you've ever had an Ogre Magi zoning you out, you know how stupid that player is, who's playing that hero is. Because he knows nothing but just sitting there right-clicking people.
I like ogre.
Yeah, you're scum, Annie. You're scum to all offlaners.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, you don't know the offlane pain until you meet a good zoning hero like an Ogre Magi. But But yeah, so that's like that's the thing, right? The Storm Spirit, he feels comfortable picking Storm Spirit because there's not a whole lot of lockdown, because they needed that lockdown of the puck last pick in order to give them some. And there's not a whole lot of ganking prowess from Not Today's lineup. So he knows very likely he's going to get level 6 without dying, and he knows that once he hits the mid-game stride, he is very, he's just not going to die most of the time, because unless he mismanages his mana or something, like, how can he die? He's going to get stunned once by Ogre, and that's it? Like, it's so unlikely for them to be able to burst him down in a 2-second stun duration. It just shouldn't happen. So they can climb, they can snowball this really effectively against Not Today.
Well, we'll have to see what's moving forward. Mordecai is getting some decent farm on the Ursa. He's definitely keeping pace here, but there's no shutouts. Like last game we saw the Void and the Centaur getting literally nothing out of their lanes. This game, at least everyone's finding a little bit of what they need. Now, Oracle here could be in some trouble. King RD goes in with the body blocks, torrent up in 3 seconds. He can definitely play this one right. Will he cast out the Lucky Torrent? They're going to go for a sandwich here. One more hit on the Oracle. First Blood goes the way of the Keeper of the Light. They do drop the Kunkka in the end, but First Blood gold definitely still worthwhile here. And the Juggernaut, not even participating in that fight, continues to farm the entire time. That was just 2 supports going at you and running down the Oracle.
That is a trade-off that is sort of like a one-time thing. Like, that trade-off, like, you dive that tower if you're guaranteed getting First Blood, and that's it. Like, you don't dive that tower in that way again, because you're in a 2v3 lane. Trading 1-for-1 really isn't that good for you, because what ends up happening is that Sword feels more comfortable sitting in the lane while the Kunkka is out of it, right? So that trade-off was worth it, but the point is you shouldn't do that again without the extra gold incentive of First Blood. And what King RD is actually going to be doing is it would have been nice if he picked up level 2 at top lane before he rotated, but he's probably going to be rotating pretty heavily onto mid lane.
All right, so your Coddle Boy in lane against a Timbersaw. He's level 2, but still hasn't picked up that mana leak. How do you feel about that?
I think because it's a dual lane, and also the Timber's in his safe lane, it's worth it. If it was like just a regular old off-lane Timber, you 100% would have mana leak by now. But I think this build-up is fine, considering the situation that they're in. If you think about it, like, most of the creep equilibrium is in this box. Having a mana leak here doesn't mean much, right? Because the most that it's going to happen is Sword runs back maybe here. It doesn't really mean a whole lot. Whereas the off lane, there's a lot more distance where you can push Timbersaw back and get free right clicks on him.
Alright, so there's a pretty intense support rotation here, looking to punish out the Sword, but again, Timbersaw is still a little bit tricky to gank. So heavy commit now from PaiN's heroes. Mid lane, we're still going to have that matchup going down. Storm versus PL. I mean, this is a matchup you expected to see like a year ago. I haven't seen it frequently at all. I don't think I've seen it in this patch whatsoever.
I'll tell you, Annie, it's not fun for the Storm Spirit. But then again, most matchups aren't fun for the Storm Spirit. The trick is you just persevere. You know, you take the damage, you bottle crow as much as you can. If one of your supports can guarantee runes, like he just did on the regen rune, that's like lane winning for you. That will single-handedly probably make sure that 40R gets level 6 without dying to the PL. And as long as you don't die to the PL with his spirits before level 6, then you probably can't ever die to this lane. So, in fact, they're even going to force out a doppelganger out of him.
Yeah, he's going to be able to dodge out that X-Torrent, but now his mana pool, pretty drain dry. He does have the magic stick available, going to be walking that one out to him, but is that really going to be enough? Now we do have the Juggernaut coming in. He's going to be level 4, so hasn't picked up the Omni just yet. It's pretty alright in terms of levels. The laning phase has been going pretty good for him. Our overall last hit leader, though, is going to be our Ursa, who hasn't really felt a whole lot of pressure. We talked about how there's little kill potential on Tavo, but Tavo has little kill potential on Mordecai as well. So Ursa, I mean, he's getting a lot. How does he transition that into game advantage? Is it items? Is it kills? Is it Roches?
Sorry, I got distracted by the attempt by Ogre at mid. It's the right attempt, right? They tried to gank Storm Spirit pre-level 6, like level 5. Level 5 Storm Spirit is probably the single most hunted hero in the game. You know, it's just like naturally everyone knows to rotate onto mid lane at minute 5. because that's when the Storm Spirit's level 5, and you want to kill him at least once before he gets 6.
Speaking of killing, Bear Boy here, Fuzzy Wuzzy running through the trees, does not have a TP, but looks like our Juggernaut might be otherwise occupied trying to go in onto the Ogre. They lose sight of the Ursa, and he is able to run away. He's got those phase booties, and he sprints to freedom.
Ursa is doing pretty well in CS. So, I'm sorry, what was your question earlier? I got distracted by the Ogre.
If we're being honest, Cap, I have no idea.
That's okay. It happens to me all the time. I throw one-off questions to Blitz, and then I lose track of it. You know, Blitz comes back to me. He's like 3 minutes later after a tangent. He's like, "What was your question?" I was like, "I don't know, dude."
Well, bottom lane here, Juggernaut, he's getting what he needs to. He's rotated down. His farm is pretty awesome. He's keeping virtually on par with the top of the charts. Our big boy here is going to be greedy, but again, no surprise. PL should be able to step on a Storm Spirit in lane, and the fact that Storm Spirit hasn't died, I mean, that is phenomenal for PaiN Gaming right now. He's reached his level 6, he's got his Ball of Lightning, he's got what he needs to be successful, which is the start of that Bloodstone. So I think this is PaiN coming out of their laning phase feeling really secure. There could be an initiation onto Ogre down bottom. Juggernaut, he's just ready to go in and punish this, and Ogre walking back and forth, maybe looking for a neutral deny, but won't find it this time.
Yeah, but Ogre's like, worth idiots. I got my Ursa space to be able to take Roshan solo. Honestly, I was like very surprised. It should have been so obvious that Ursa left lane. Like, because it's not even like he left lane early and went and jungled for a while. He left lane, picked up his mask, and then went straight to the Roshan pit. That should be so obvious to you.
Nyx, does eventually get dropped, but he lived for a little bit too long there with both an Oracle and a Timbersaw, fully committing to that kill. I was surprised he lasted as long as he did.
I mean, Not Today have to get they have to get 3 Roshans in a row, I think, to actually be able to win this game. So the fact that you get the first one so early is great. They're going to lose their Ogre again, most likely.
Fat Boy gets dropped here and looks like he's not going to be bailed out by his teammates. Now up top, another initiation on the Nyx. This could go exactly like the last fight. Oracle moving forward, the sword. He's trying to cut those waves, and now just going to get stunned up there by the Carapace, taking a couple of shots of damage from Tavo, but without anyone else rotating to lane, Nyx just does not have the damage to rip through a very, very tanky Timbersaw.
Yeah, he's just trying to, in fact, I think throwing the Impale is actually a mistake. You should hold on to that, because you're not ever going to kill the Timber, right? You're just trying to stay in experience range and get whatever last hits you can. You know the tower's dead, 100%, but you're getting the tower at bottom lane as a trade-off. All you're trying to do is get levels. So if you get level 6, level 7, start rotating out, put some pressure. Maybe you can gank the PL. You probably can't Vendetta hit him, but you can just lead out with an Impale, and then maybe that disable...
This poor Ogre! He just comes back to lane and keeps getting victimized. Maybe trying to find something onto the Kunkka. The tower shots will spell his doom. Oracle able to get credit for that one now. Keeper the Light going in with the Illuminate Blast. Still no mana leak here. I feel like that's just a necessity. There he goes. He grabs it up as he ticks over to 5, and that will stop Ogre right in his tracks. There's going to be a wraparound, though. A smoked up Ursa with an Aegis, with a Mask of Madness. He's hungry, and he might just find himself a Juggernaut with no means of escape. Going to be spinning away, but there's that physical damage you were talking about.
Yep. The Ursa with Mask of Madness and Phase Boots. He reaches almost max movement speed with this build. So you really can't beat him out. You can't spin TP or spin and phase away like you normally can with Juggernaut in 99% of scenarios. The Ursa is one of the few heroes that matches you. So well played. Really, really good rotation there by Mordecai. But they're going to need a lot of good rotations like that. Another good upside of Not Today is that they are getting the full out free farm of the Phantom Lancer in mid still. The Storm Spirit is getting a similar amount of free farm, but you do always have the hope that late game the PL will be able to output more than the Storm Spirit. But it's pretty clear that the mid game should be the Storm Spirit all the way through. You should be able to do a lot more than PL.
How late does Not Today have to push this to get the most out of their PL? Because it seems like, the later you push it, the more you run the risk of your Ursa dropping off.
I think Ursa is kind of like a Drow Ranger, in that there have been enough upgrades and changes to the game where you don't fall off as hard as you used to. But I still think that like you can push this game as late as you want, to be honest, and you would still feel very comfortable as not today, because PL is a great late game hero, one of the best. Timbersaw is really strong, and then you have some pretty decent supports behind them. Bloodlust is really value late game, and Oracle, his whole defensive skill set is really strong as well. Meanwhile, PaiN is just like late game Storm Spirit, that is a monster. That will actually, that is the only way that PaiN can win, but it's actually quite possible that late game Storm Spirit like single-handedly balls out of control, because again, they don't have the lockdown for 90% of this game to be able to deal with him. It's only like late game when they get Abyssal.
Nyx Assassin going to be going in, start things off onto the Ogre, who they should easily be able to pick off, but little do they know there's a very angry Ursa hot on his heels, so Ogre leading themselves into that. The Oracle going to be healing about now 40R. They're not going to be looking to initiate on this. Tavo actually sprinting away. There is going to be the Fortune Sand coming in onto the Storm Spirit. He's able to go and zip his way up to the high ground, but not before the Nyx Assassin gets dropped. So not today. Defend their tier 1 tower. They force back the push from PaiN, and they are able to take out Nyx Assassin. Not super high value, but definitely still a couple of coins they can add to their purse.
I think 40R just didn't want to fight there, but Nyx Assassin kind of forced his hand. Because if they were going to make that jump on the Ogre, then 40R should have already been preemptively zipping over before Nyx Assassin hits his stun. That way you can get a static remnant hit on the Ogre while he's stunned in one place. But I think 40R just wants to be able to farm up and get his Bloodstone. And to be honest, I can kind of agree with him. I don't think you should really be taking too many risks with the fights that you're taking. Just farm up on the Storm. Once you get Bloodstone, get those guaranteed pickoffs and start that snowball rolling.
Alright, so speaking of snowballs rolling, our Ursa's been doing a really good job of staying relevant here. We had our doubts about if this Ursa's going to be able to get away with going full Defy, but he's really, really close to what I assume to be a Blink Dagger now. Zip in here. I mean, this poor Ogre just keeps getting dropped. He is the punching bag of PaiN. Unfortunately, though, PaiN really haven't found kills on super important heroes. They haven't brought down the PL, they haven't brought down the Timber or the Ursa, so it's really just the Ogre that's making up the majority of the kill score for PaiN.
Yep, that's the Ogre Magi's most important duty.
Walk in and die.
Is to die in place of other people. That really is. He's like a melee version of Vengeful Spirit. Oh, they didn't get the X on the Timber. That was a guaranteed kill if they'd just gotten the X marks a spot, but only level 1 X marks being used by King RD. I see many other Kunkas, even if they do go with the maxed out Tidebringer, at least get level 2 of X marks, just because the extra range helps so much, and that was a point where you missed a very critical kill because of this skill build.
Alright, now Ursa, he's wrapping around. Keep Where the Light is sitting calmly in the trees, but oh! Ursa coming just a little bit shy. Now they're going to bump Uglies there, and Keep Where the Light gets dropped immediately. They're looking for the kill onto the Nyx Assassin as well. They've got vision, and there's not a whole lot the Nyx can do, so not today. I mean, this is just a totally different playstyle than we saw from them in game number 1. They have their power spikes. Their heroes are certainly not even fully online yet. They're rotating, clear communication, clear targets. Their heroes are getting what they want, and I mean, PaiN just seem to be one step behind every single rotation.
Yeah, they're just kind of like running at PaiN Gaming and still managing to catch them out. I think a big difference between playstyles from game 1 to game 2 is the fact that game number 1, Not Today really couldn't run at a Draw Ranger lineup, especially with the lineup that they drafted. It was pretty greedy for facing a Draw Ranger lineup. This time around, PaiN Gaming's 5-man isn't as clear-cut, and Not Today have heroes that are a lot more effective by themselves. Like, for example, like Ursa, right? Very effective at being able to get guaranteed kills. Same goes with Timbersaw. Those heroes don't need the extra bit, whereas Faceless Void, he can Chronosphere a person and not do anything.
Ogre, please stop. They're looking to be going in onto the Ursa, who now just pops his enrage, runs away. There is going to be that pull back in. He slaps the ground. It looks like the boat might just clip onto him. There they go. They get the damage. Kunkka gets the credit for the big little Ursa kill. And now, moving forward, they want to get the kill onto the Ogre as well, but seems like Fat Boy might get away this time.
Yeah, 40R is searching for him, and it wasn't a bad attempt, especially with that regen, but Ogre. stupid hero that he is.
Dude, you've got some
his TP
built-up
animation-
feelings. You gotta talk to someone about this, man. It's
His TP
not
animation
healthy.
is so dumb, and it
Dude,
fits him so
you were
well.
at
He's
TI,
just
you
like,
gotta clap
he's
your
like
hands.
Dumb, he's like clappy, yeah.
Jesus.
Yay, I didn't die in this team fight.
Something's wrong with you, bro.
Listen, I just had some real infuriating, off lane versus Ogre Magi support games.
Yeah,
That
you
hero
seem,
beats anything in a right-click war. It's so dumb.
seem a little bit triggered. Hopefully PaiN Gaming aren't falling into the same trap that you are and just walking around clapping their hands, making dumb voices. Now, second Roshan has spawned. It is first revealed by King RD. Now, Invis ruined up in the pit. Certainly, Ursa is going to be hot on the Roche case. Let's see if PaiN Gaming is going to try to contest it with some sort of team fight or, oh, golly.
Oh my.
If
All
Ursa
right,
can do this fast enough, there is the potential for a steal. There's also the potential for this to go horribly wrong and end up in one of the most brutal Kunkka massacres we may have ever seen. Now, there's going to be our deep rotation in Ogre once again trying to eat the damage of the rest of the Radiant. Kunkka's Invis rune is wearing thin. He's going to have to make a play now.
Oh, Jesus.
He goes
He got
in.
it.
He is able to snatch the Aegis. I'm pretty sure he dies here. He doesn't actually spend up the ghost ship. There he goes. He's going to be helped out a little bit by the Oracle, but blasted down. He's coming back for a second time, and no one on PaiN Gaming wants to help him. Rest in pieces, Kunkka. You tried. Gold star there. He does deny the Roshan to the Ursa, which is pretty important there. No Aegis for him, but in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of where the game was before the Aegis. It's not a huge game changer.
Yeah, I think that was, I think PaiN played that out pretty well. I don't think they really could have, fully contested and gone for a full-out Roshan fight. They had that information for a really long time, and 4DR was still sitting mid, and I think that was kind of the right play. Just, as dumb as it sounds, just keep on farming. Let King RD go for the sacrificial play. He steals the Aegis, runs as far as he can, but he's obviously going to die. He buys times and steals the Aegis away. That's not bad. In the meantime, you're getting guaranteed farm on your Storm Spirit and your Juggernaut. And you're getting a lot of it, too. In fact, Juggernaut's actually going to go back for a Battle Fury, which is a pretty interesting build. This will allow them to contest late game a little bit better, because you'll have a better item build up on your Juggernaut than normal. But it does also slow you down for this specific period of time. He could have the Diffusal Blade instead of Battle Fury right now, which would give him a lot more power against Timbersaw. It would give him kiting mechanisms against the enemy, especially that Ursa. But instead, going for the farming builds.
Oh,
Don't
Ogre, not quick enough on those fingers. Not going to be able to get off the Fire Blast. Now, it looks like Ogre might end up eating the damage as well. Ursa sitting back. He knows he can jump in. He knows he can do something about this. It's going to blink forward. Gets the bash onto 4DR. Now, do they have the lockdown? Goes for the Bloodstone, denies. So not going to get the gold for killing off that Storm Spirit, but still, Storm Spirit dead, loses those Bloodstone charges. He'll be back relatively soon, but he's got to make some serious action happen around the map to get back those charges and bring his mana pool back up to par.
Yeah, they really couldn't afford that. Even if it was like a suicide, they couldn't afford the slowdown of Bloodstone charges on the Storm, because he does have so much opportunity to be the big playmaker. Honestly, this game will be a true test of 4DR and how good he is as a carry. Can he actually win this game for him? Because he has everything set up for him to do so. To maximize the play of Storm Spirit because he's dealing with so little disables.
Yeah, it's pretty tough up here. We are going to have the PL drag back. Could be a really nice kill. They're going to send in the Ghost Ship. No holds barred here. Can Greedy actually get away? The Oracle comes back. Should be able to save him. Goes in for the Doppel Walk. Should be able to get back. The Torrent latches onto poor little Oracle.
No, it bounced away!
Omni Slash. Oh, that was just about the worst set of bounces you could ask for here. Now there is going to be the dust. The stun comes in on the top of no Carapace for the next couple of seconds. This Nyx is going to be going in. Do they have the damage? Hell yeah, they do. Oracle gets credit for another kill. 4, 1, and 5. This guy's been doing pretty phenomenally. It's only 20 minutes in, and he's already got a decent chunk of net worth sitting up there above the Coddle, who's also had a pretty good game for himself.
Yeah, these these ganks from PaiN, it's kind of like last game, you know, how they're just like barely not working out. Except for this time it has much more dire circumstances, because last time they were moving forward with their overall strategy very cleanly. Whereas this time around, they're actually quite dependent on these ganks. Like, they're quite dependent on Juggernaut being able to get Omni-slash kills here and there. They're still farming up pretty well and trying to keep pace. Juggernaut's ahead of everyone in net worth, even if it is just barely. The fact that he is at that point is pretty good. It's just the Storm Spirit that you're more concerned about. Because Juggernaut, like, as good as he farms, can't actually beat out these heroes. Storm can't.
Speaking of beating out these heroes, everything dropped for the Ogre, and they might not even get it. Look at that. They are just unloading on this poor little dude. He actually lives through it, courtesy of the heals. I mean, Cap, what are your feelings on Ogre living through this?
Hey, what happened?
I mean, to be fair, in that team fight, he kind of just sat there, and the rest of his team did the healing and the disabling. But effective damage sponge nonetheless. There's a reason Ogre is picked up pretty much whenever available as a lane support. Not today. Getting
Did
the
Ogre
most.
do good, guys?
Shut
Did you
up,
take enough damage? Yay.
Oh my god. You know, I'm just going to buy you like every possible Ogre set and send it to you as payment for this cast instead of actual money.
Man, I that's what I imagine. Like, every person who's playing Ogre in my pubs, like, I imagine they're just role-playing Ogre Magi in real life all the time, you know? That's what I imagine.
It's actually Ogre sitting behind the keyboard, the two heads fighting about what buttons to press.
Yeah, he just accidentally gets killed sometimes because of a sick multicast, you know? He doesn't even know what he's doing. He's just clicking buttons, and somehow luck goes in his favor and he gets kills. Whatever.
I mean, we're playing on US East, so that's not too far-fetched of a tale. Now, over here in the top lane, Storm Spirit still hasn't recovered any of the charges on his Bloodstone. His progression has slowed a little bit. You said this game kind of comes down to what 4DR can make happen to him. What does he need to do to effectively scale up the Storm Spirit? Because he's not feeling on top of the world right now. He's the lowest of all the cores in terms of net worth.
Yeah, he's not farming very well, and he's not finding any pickoffs. Maybe, like, it's one or the other, right? You either need to play kind of around your Nyx Assassin to scout out situations like, say, that Phantom Lancer kill inside the enemy jungle. Like, that would be a great opportunity for 4DR to be playing around his supports and building up Bloodstone charges that way. But if he's not doing that, if he's not there in those scenarios, then he needs to be farming better. Because honestly, if you look at his CS, it's just like it's not keeping pace with the other people in this game. So you can't, like, miss out on both those circumstances. If he wants to farm, like, that's all fine, well and good. Farm until you have your second or third item. That's when Storm Spirit is his strongest. And if you aren't farming up like that, then I expect you to be able to get pickoffs with your team, especially with Nyx Assassin scouting.
All right, we are going to have a TP in. It looks like Greedy's going to take one hell of an Illuminate charge, but barely tickles this Phantom Lancer, who's picked up that Diffusal Blade. He's going to be going in. He's got himself a Yasha. So he's scaling up really, really nicely when it comes down to what mid is being more impactful. Even though it's 4DR's time to shine, it seems like the PL has been relatively unchallenged for the last 15 minutes of the game, and that's showing.
I honestly think that this game is kind of close to being over. Just with the way this is going, PaiN got to do something to really shake up the game. You know, they got to get, like, a really good initiation and a fight that results or something, man. They're just, like, just kind of, like, spiraling downwards, just in farm. But we'll have to see. I like Ogre. Maybe when he gets his Orchid, the things will change, but the thing is, it's just so late into the game. It's like 30 minutes at that point in time. Phantom Lancer, he's already got his Diffusal, so he doesn't worry about Orchid. The Ursa's kind of a hard kill. The Timbersaw already has an answer to the Orchid as well. He's got Lotus Orb. So options just get more and more limited for the Storm Spirit, just, you know, instead of opening up as they should.
All right, overall, kill score is still pretty low. I mean, for a Brazil versus Peru game, you kind of expect a couple more team fights, a little bit more action, but Oh, you might see a little bit happening mid now as there is a zip in. Ogre Magi eating up some damage, but they turn things around onto the Storm Spirit. His Bloodstone ticks even lower. Now there's going to be an Omni Slash in. The charges are going to be split between the Oracle and Ursa, so Oracle hits the deck. Ursa, following suit, does not have the Aegis, but Greedy comes in. They're looking to punish this Juggernaut. He pops the Healing Ward up. There's going to be a little Coddle Blast to get him down to the low ground, and now looks like Juggernaut, well, he's still in a little bit of trouble there. As Greedy comes back in, takes a little mana burn from the Nyx Assassin. Illuminate gets him very, very low. He pops into the double walk, though. He wants to continue forward, but Juggernaut eventually gets the PL down. He just went a little bit too far forward. Juggernaut will give his life for that. The rest of the Radiant, I mean, they're making something happen.
Oh, Storm Spirit's incoming.
Oh, he's coming back. He's coming back. The Bloodstone is just a little bit beefy enough to give him that low respawn time where they are able to take out the Ogre Magi. They're looking here for the sword. He does have that Hood of Defiance, so a bit of magic resistance for him. Now deep dive in from 4DR, wants to punish the Oracle again. There is that Lotus Orb, so they gotta be careful to get him down. Really, really effective use of their spells. Good focus. Sword is still up, but not today. Well, they're kind of fizzling right now. I don't think they can get the kill on the Timber, but that was just about as good of a team fight as PaiN could hope for.
Yeah, it's just the fact that they don't... Oh god, the bash? Alright, if you got a secondary bash, Mordecai would have been an RNG god. But it's the fact that Storm Spirit doesn't get any progression in that, and the Juggernaut still died as well. That's really the important part. Like, yeah, he came back and he killed an Oracle. Like, okay, you got one Bloodstone charge out of that, but ultimately you're still in a same or worse position than you were when, like, before that team fight happened. So, I don't know. That fight, it's like those kind of fights that need to happen, but it just wasn't good enough for PaiN, for this game to actually change in their favor.
Alright, we are in Pause City here. Looking at Mordecai and the Ursa, he's still keeping himself pretty relevant. Obviously, his kill potential has dropped off just a little bit as PaiN pick up some more survivability. He's saving up a huge chunk of gold here, almost 3,000. Is he looking to go straight Abyssal, or does he pick up an interim item?
I think straight Abyssal. Because, again, you just want to keep the Storm Spirit down as best as possible. And when you have that guaranteed lockdown, you probably can kill 4DR, probably like 70% of the time. Because you get the Abyssal lockdown, and then you just, if you get a just one bash proc, then he's dead.
All right, game has.
Listen, Annie, I don't want you giggling at guys who live with their moms. Okay, that's what I'm doing right now. Have some respect, Jesus, Annie.
Sorry. Okay. Either way, Roshan going to be up very, very shortly. Not today. Really want to get their paws on that. It will be the third Roche, so Aegis and Cheese. Obviously, with Kunkka stealing the last Aegis, it's more and more important for Not Today to get the Aegis on the Ursa to be able to actually push high ground and advance the pressure here, because there are still two tier 2 towers up on the Radiant side of the map now. We've got 4DR pushed in pretty aggressively here. He is able to zip away, still eats a stun from the Ogre. Little does he know that Sword is right nearby. Again, I don't think they can drop enough to kill the Storm, but at least forcing him back. He is going in for the Orchid. You mentioned that PL already with the Diffusal should be able to take care of that silence easily, but is that going to be worthwhile, Storm finishing up the Orchid?
I mean, I think it's an item that you have to go. It's not like, I mean, Lincoln's would be nice now that you know Abyssal Blade is about to come up for the Ursa, but it's just an item that you kind of like have to get at Storm Spirit. It gives you a lot of mana sustain, which is really important for Storm Spirit. It gives you a lot of extra damage. The attack speed is really important for Storm Spirit. The obviously intelligence and damage are okay too.
Oh, Kunkka scouts out this movement into the pit. The Roshan dropping low. Can he go for steal number 2? The Radiant are posturing up, but Dire, well, they say they're going to have to get through me first. Obviously, things start off with the Ogre eating the Torrent, eating a couple of stuns, but Juggernaut's got to be careful. There is going to be that little Lotus Orb. They've got to be pretty precise about what they drop. Meanwhile, Ursa is able to finish off the Roshan, does pick up the Aegis. There's still a cheese in the pit. PL picks that one up. Now it looks like things are starting to get a little bit grim as Oracle has already been dead. Ogre as well. Now King RD looks like will fall to Greedy, who's now chasing after everyone. Greedy does still sit on the cheese, so if things get a little bit hairy, he can just heat up full health, full mana. There he goes. Mana Leak still coming through, but pick onto the Coddle is successful. Now Mordecai's limping away. There will be the Aegis popped out as Nyx Assassin ends up plopping down the Impale, blinking back to safety, maybe able to make it out in time. There is a wraparound from the PL, but not going to fully commit to that. So overall, a 3-for-3 Aegis still goes the way of Not Today, but definitely not the worst fight PaiN could have taken.
Yeah, not the worst. Stormsphere did walk away with Bloodstone charge, but the Juggernaut died. And he died in a pretty sad way, which was right as he was about to get out of range. The Ursa, he got bashed, and then another right-click finished him off. But to be honest, it's just... I don't see a good way for PaiN to be able to win this one out.
Look at this, though. They're looking to go onto Greedy here. He's going to be healed up temporarily. Now Mordecai, he's charging in. He wants to go in onto the Storm Spirit. There will be a boat dropped out, but just going to whiff right on through as Dire continue to charge through the front lines. They get the kill on the Storm Spirit. He's dead for 30 seconds. And it's going to be Tavo trying to make something happen, but
Got the courier kill.
Yep. Yup, it did, but it's still a little bit unfortunate now, as Not Today have effectively wormed their way up onto the Radiant High Ground. All their big damage dealers are still up. The Juggernaut has no Omni to his name. His build's a little bit quirky here. He builds up the Diffusal Blade finally, then goes for the Sanj and Yasha. In the back line, Mordecai, I mean, he's just manning up here. That bear is hungry, finding himself some meat. And we'll see if he's going to be going in, pressuring the Juggernaut as well. You can tell he's itching to blink forward and finish off this tower. We'll see as Ogre comes in, looking to beat Bop up with a stun. Storm Spirit joins the party once again. His respawn comes in. Tavo, again, going to be eating that Ignite, eating the Fire Blast, and there we go. Ursa finds some prey. Boat comes in, not even connecting, and tier 3 is down. It is denied by the Juggernaut, but denial might be futile here. Deep Zip in from the Storm Spirit, goes in, wants to get the kill onto the Oracle, but the Glimmer Cave saves ass. Now there is an Impale up from Tavo. Oracle still alive on the back lines, healing up as the rest of the Radiant scramble, trying to find a target. The sword will eventually get plopped down. We're moving forward here. Greedy could be next on the menu. They found out which PL is real. He's going to be hopping into that Doppelwalk Kunkka. I mean, he's using that armlet to the best of his ability, getting low health, but they are still able to pull out the PL. Does have buyback if necessary. Meanwhile, Ogre, I mean, he's just alley-ooped up in the air and slapped back down. Oracle TP's out, so PaiN with a very successful hold. It does cost them a buyback on the Nyx Assassin, but absolutely worthwhile getting those big kills.
Oh yeah, they got the Storm Spirit back to 9 charges. If PaiN Gaming can actually win the game, now it's actually not going to be on 4DR, it seems like. I think this game entirely rests in the hands of King RD. Like, I think his plays so far, like, he's done pretty well as a Kunkka, but he's also built up this amazing damage. Like, the last time we had a mid-fight, in like this area, the only reason the PL died was because he was able to hit a Tidebringer hit with that armlet. He's done those sort of things have gotten the extra bit of damage required to be able to win the 1 or 2 fights that PaiN Gaming has won over Not Today. He's also the only real hope for being able to have a secondary...
The smoke's gonna pop. They know Storm Spirit's nearby, or at least someone's invised up. They might think it's an Nyx Assassin. They're gonna go in. They plop a sentry down, will not reveal the Storm. Storm is just sitting here enjoying the view, able to zip back to freedom. In fact, looking to perhaps unload onto Mordecai. The rest of his team nowhere nearby, so Storm's just gonna go back to base, replenish the mana pool, and feel lucky that he scouted out the smoke rotation.
That had to be the most mana inefficient zip I've ever seen. Like, the Ursa is here, right? So Storm Spirit zips. It's like he was taunting Ursa. Like, he zipped to the Ursa and then zipped over here. Like, it was actually possible that Ursa could have, like, run him down with Blink Dagger and Mask of Madness or something. I was, like, so silly.
Yeah, I mean, I think Storm may have been trying to go in and, like, maybe pop a Static Remnant into the wave to get a little bit of farm, but as soon as he sees Ursa, he just nopes right out of there.
And PaiN are, like, the problem is Not Today always have the, like, guaranteed split push. Again, it's like, how do you kill Greedy? Well, when he's split pushing, you have to Nyx Assassin, Vendetta, into an Impale, then follow that up with a Torrent, and Storm Spirit zips in, and even then, it's probably going to be close, right? Like, you have to have these perfect set of circumstances from 3 heroes just to be able to kill one split pusher.
Coming in. We are ready to start things off. 40R comes in. He's got an Orchid, but Ursa has an Orchid himself, so as long as they keep Mordecai alive, Mordecai drops. Whoop, that is not a good start to the fight. Now Ogre is going to get cleaved down as well. Kunkka just bringing out those Tidebringers. There's going to be Greedy moving forward, going to dodge out the Torrent, but the Omni Slash, he actually brings it in towards the buyback Ursa. That's going to be a dieback on this bear. That is going to be terrible for Not Today. Looks like there's going to be a Glimmer Cape, keeping Oracle alive for now, but 40R can still move forward. There's a heal toss down onto the sword, but looks like he might get dropped anyway. Will be picked off by the Keeper of the Light. This is going to be a team wipe here as Oracle drops as well. PaiN all of a sudden just show up and dance on Not Today's grave. They force a dieback on the Ursa. How impactful can this be? This net worth chart is about to cross into PaiN's favor for the first time since laning phase.
I don't even know what to say. That, like, the team fight alone is like an 8,000 gold swing, but it probably means more like 12 or 14,000, just because of what they're going to be able to get after the fact, right? They're going to be able to push down mid lane, get this tier 2 most likely. It looks like it's going to lead into another pickoff. I think Timbersaw is maybe gonna. I don't know. They don't have enough damage for Timber, but still, it's like the extra things they're gonna get out of that fight, tempo wise. They didn't get an objective out of it, so they don't get that extra gold. But like, so much happened from that. That was just insane. Like, it was really good. Like, choices were made by PaiN Gaming. First of all, they really quickly burst down the Ursa. They chained their stuns to make sure he didn't have an opportunity to be able to enrage. This is one of those games where you maybe should have considered going an Aghanim Scepter on Ursa rather than these offensive items. That, yeah, the Orchid is really nice for you to be able to pick off the Storm Spear, and it worked once or twice on the Storm and then one other hero, the Nyx Assassin. But if you had an Ags, like, you'd be able to interrupt these combinations of chain stuns against you with Enrage, and then that whole entire option goes away. Also, the Oracle not really being able to get off a good false promise. And then I think Juggernaut played that beautifully, right? He waited out the Doppelganger from the Phantom Lancer, holding onto that Omni Slash until finally Doppelganger was used, found the real one, used it, and killed the PL, and then bounced to the Oracle, killing him as well.
This is certainly a tense game now. Overall net worth is just barely going to be in PaiN's favor. Do PaiN have it in them now? Is this now late game enough that they have made their impact? They're shutting down Not Today, and it's just a nice little spiral here? Or is it really all contingent on the next couple of team fights?
I think they've definitely made it back in the game. In fact, I would almost say that they're ahead in this game. They really need to be able to... Unfortunately, they didn't get it. I was really expecting them to be able to find like a pickoff or two after that team fight. You know, like, naturally you're going to be able to spread yourself out and push all the lanes in. And Not Today, in order to deal with that, have to split up themselves.
Ambitious TP from the sword. Woo, Nelly. I don't think he's going to like that one.
Man, King RD has had some really clutch crits, by the way, on his Tidebringer. That was another reason they won that fight by the Roshan pit.
Completed Daedalus. Kunkka's now officially going to be in that carry role. Now 40R going to get Orchided up, but again, X'd back courtesy of that utility Kunkka. Mordecai still does have the Enrage. He's got that Abyssal to drop. The problem is finding a target, because at this point, there's a whole bunch of damage dealers. You got to focus down the Storm, got to take care of the Juggernaut. Oracle gonna be saved for now. Storm Spirit lets him off with a warning, but it's still gonna be Juggernaut versus the world now, as these racks most likely gonna get finished off in the next creep push. PaiN, I mean, they found such a little window to go in and execute, and they've done such a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I like the fact they really pushed that for the next step, that they pushed down that melee racks. Not Today opted not to fight them there. And I think that's the right choice, because they don't have buyback on the Ursa. So in that case, you could just straight up lose the game. Despite having a better late game and it's 36 minutes in, you could just straight up lose the game by trying to contest one lane of racks. I don't think it's just quite worth it. You still have a chance, a really reasonable chance, back into this game for Not Today. Just kind of play passive, farm, see if you can get Roshan number 4, right?
Yep.
Yeah, this is Roshan number 4. And that'll give you 5 minutes where it's unlikely PaiN push into you. And all that time is just like more and more late game items for some of these heroes. The Phantom Lancer is getting close to that full-on 6-slotted territory, and that's super scary. If he can actually get the full-out Scotty, like, his illusions become too tough for some heroes to deal with, let alone the actual hero.
Yeah, meanwhile, PaiN do take the opportunity to finish off the tier 2 mid, so it is going to be just high ground left to conquer for PaiN Gaming. No more outer towers remain. And you've got the PL sitting on another cheese, so he is going to be pretty sustainable. It's really hard to focus down PL because he just makes such a wad of illusions that he has a lot of time to react. It's not like he's immediately going to get stun locked because there's that little guess moment where you have to figure out, which one takes the least damage, which one's real.
Fortunately, they do have pretty good ways of dealing with split push from Not Today. They've got a Storm Spirit and a Keeper of the Light. So they can kind of freely push the lanes out while still knowing they've got a 5-man crew. Oh, did they get PL? I think they got him. Oh my god.
Oh, so just as we talk about PL not being able to be locked down, he just drops to the ground now. A secondary kill could be coming out onto the Ursa here. It's going to be an ambitious one because they do have to get him down not once but twice. While the rest of Not Today is not going to look to let this go easy. The respawn comes out. They've got the follow-up. Mordecai, he's got a brief moment of time to hit that enrage. He is able to do so, looking to man up onto the Nyx Assassin. Meanwhile, Storm Spirit picks off the Oracle. The Ghost Ship comes in. Kunkka, he ain't playing around here. Mordecai does die. Still no buyback on him. This is now PaiN's window to go in, crack high ground. Ogre is cowering in the trees. There's going to be pings out, though. He's somewhere around. All right, so your little Ogre Magi not going to be living through that one, Cap. I think that's going to be some good tingly feelings going your way.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, I can't believe that. Like, first of all, PL dies just barely, right? Because he had cheese, and I'm sure he was spam pushing that button. If he lives through that and he's able to get the cheese off, then he survives through that whole entire engagement. But it was so bad that Ursa jumped into the enemy after they lost their PL, because that was never an engagement he could actually take. Especially now that the Storm Spirit, like, he's had BKBs. The Orchid isn't effective anymore against him.
Now, really big initiation here. Mega kill streak. A Storm Spirit, he just dives fountain there to kill the Oracle.
Wait, did PL just let him live?
Yep. Showing a little bit of mercy here. Bloodstone back up to 20 charges on 4DR. He's now zipping in, getting close to the base, buying out a TP from the enemy base. And Ogre all out from underneath his nose.
Oh. What the hell was that? Why doesn't Greedy kill the hero that's inside his fountain? Why did he just let him walk away? I don't understand. Omni Slash just got used. And Ogre dodged it with the Glimmer Cape.
Yeah, but unfortunately his tower not going to be able to meet the same fate. Juggernaut is sitting on a moon shard. He can gobble that up when he wants to get his next item because he does have almost 5k gold ready to go. Storm Spirit with a very deep zip. He's just having some fun. Zips into the fountain and gets dragged back. Unfortunately, his entire mana pool is going to be kind of dropped out from that. Coddle helping him out, but that's just going to be some fun little BM coming out of the Storm Spirit.
Yeah, they can keep doing this over and over again. We saw it earlier when they were trying to pressure top, how he zipped in against the Oracle. The Glimmer Cape saved the Oracle the first time around, and then Storm Spirit was able to zip again and should have killed the Oracle the second time around. That's the advantages of having Storm Spirit and Coddle and Storm Spirit and Kunkka. There's some really cheesy stuff that happens. If you've ever seen like the high ground defense by Storm Spirit, it's stupid when he has a Kunkka. Because all he does is he zips out from the fountain. Like the TP play that Storm Spirit do, where they zip out from the fountain and they TP, and they just do damage with their ball. Think that, except for you've got an unlimited TP, right? It's just like Kunkka will constantly X you, you zip out from the fountain, you get pulled back, and you just do that repeatedly, killing the creep wave before it hits the base. It's absurd.
Right, not today. I mean, they're definitely playing from behind now with 2 racks down. Do you think PaiN go for mega creeps here, or do they just mount the next push and shove their way into the tier 4s?
I don't think it's really necessary. When you have 2 lanes of racks, you have really good map control, and you should always have information about what Not Today is doing. So I think that you just wait until Roshan. I think the chances of Not Today being able to push out and getting a really big pickoff that leads into more is unlikely. What I do want to talk about is like the Battle Fury build from this Juggernaut very clearly paid out, right? He was able to maintain top net worth throughout the whole entire game, and now he's just picked up his second butterfly and consumed the moon shard. So he's the full 6 slotted of 6 slotted now.
So 2 butterflies. The stats stack, the flutter doesn't. Is there something more effective he could have grabbed, or is it just kind of like, screw you, I hit hard, I got agi?
Oh god, the Omni
What's happening? The Nether Realm has been reached. Alright, either way, there's going to be some massacres going down as Storm Spirit drops the base onto the Oracle. No more heal available. The buybacks are few and far between. This is going to be a buyback on the Timber Saw, but it's all he got. Greedy, meanwhile, gets cleaned up. We could be moments away from a GG here, with PaiN taking this series in a 2-0. It does mean that Not Today would drop out of the tournament here. There's a lot on the line. You don't want to GG out till absolutely necessary. Now Tavo may end up getting cleaned up, but there's Storm Spirit coming in, seeking revenge. Mordecai gets slapped back. He's going to buy back. He's going to put out everything he got, but the Ancient is now going to be exposed. Definitely not something you want to deal with when you're Not Today. They've now got everything against them. They've got to deal with creeps. They've got to deal with farmed heroes. They've got to deal with 40R playing cocky. And now, oh, the Juggernaut comes in. It's going to be just a suicide pact here. There's a gem on the deck, but Juggernaut still full health, full mana, dropping a defusal charge here on the sword, but yeah, he ain't messing around, going straight for the throne. Just gonna be spinning, dealing with that chakram being thrown out under him. I think this may be it. Of course, you don't want to GG out till it's absolutely necessary, but there we go.
I'm pretty sure Greedy is done with this game.
Yeah, I think Greedy's like, you got, I did my best.
I'm fairly certain he's mega flaming his team.
Hey Cap, would you say it's all Ogre now?
It's all Ogre, baby. It's all Ogre. Screw you, Ogre Machai. You lost the game. I mean, the draft. I mean, I really felt like draft-wise, PaiN had a big advantage. But I mean, come on, like that was Storm Spirit with like very little lockdown. They had a pretty greedy draft from Not Today, and they let it slip out of their hands. And somehow they clawed it back. I honestly am not sure. Like, I'm still kind of reeling from how quickly they pulled that one back. It was kind of insane. But they did it, right? And then, like, once the game is even net worth, then you can see just how dramatically their draft outplays the other one. With things like Stormstreet just being able to zip in whatever with no fear whatsoever. Stuff like that. So I think overall it was really well executed by PaiN. Really surprising that Not Today are out of the tournament already. They were second in their group. They're looked at as probably one of the better teams in the North American, South American region. And they're out of the tournament already.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate now, but this does have a bright light for the other side of South America here. PaiN Gaming, the Brazilian tribe, moving forward into the losers bracket. Still a tricky road ahead. One more loss series, and they'll be dropping out as well, but they're still in it. They're still clawing forward, and they could be moving towards a spot in that LAN tournament in Montreal, Canada. So definitely more interesting games to watch tomorrow night. We're going to have some very anticipated games. That's going to be the winners bracket matches. Infamous versus the Wild Witch Doctors, and then Team NP versus FDL. Again, that's tomorrow night, same time. Zayori and Motpax casting that one up for you. But for now, I'm Android for Moonduck Studios, being joined by Cap. Thank you guys so much for watching our coverage of the Northern Arena Beat Invitational presented by Bell, and we'll catch y'all next time.